Apparently, my favorite dipshit of all time, the worst person, one of the worst people on television, decided to do yet another Nightmare Blunt rotation. Now, of course, it's a Nightmare Blunt rotation. Any rotation that features Bill Maher is automatically a Nightmare Blunt rotation. But this lineup was particularly bad. Old Billy Boy here, old Bilbo Bitch Tits, is finally coming out and openly admitting his political, not Billy Bitch Tits, Bill Burr. This is the other Billy Bitch Tits. He's just coming home, you know? This is where he always was, and I'm glad that he's just more open about it, I guess. Mr. I hate the Republicans. He went and had dinner with Donald Trump. Shocking 0 people. And I mean 0 people. Who here is like, wow, I can't believe Bill Maher is pro-Trump. He finally decided, perhaps at Trump's weakest moment of approval and popularity, Mr. Read the Room basically is coming out to be like, I still don't like him, but I like him a lot more than I did before.
And now for what I know you've all been waiting for, I'd like to give you my book report on my visit to the White House. Okay, as you know, 12 days ago I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power. I'm a fucking comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute. So, thank you. Okay, so meet up in person. Maybe it'll be different. Spoiler alert, it was. First good sign, before I left for the Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy. Really a dumb guy.
I'm glad that he was tackling the important issues when he met with Donald Trump.
Fired like a dog. His show is dead. There's 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did. Which he did with good humor. And I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. So...
Dude, he's so brave. You went to the White House and the president was nice to you? That's fucking brave, dude. And I'm gonna report on it. He's clearly the best of us. Grow up. You're right.
So, no, I didn't go MAGA. And to the president's credit, there was no pressure to. After we left the Oval Office, he showed me the little room off the office, you know, the one where Clinton used to... Okay. The blowjob room, okay? Well, not anymore. That's where they keep the merch now. It is. And he gave me a bunch of hats, but he didn't ask me to take a picture in one, which I appreciated. The guy I met is not the person who the night...
Wow. I can't tell who's a nicer guy here. Actually, unironically, between Bill Maher and Trump, I really can't tell who's a nicer guy. They're both ginormous pieces of shit.
Night before the dinner, shit-tweeted a bunch of nasty crap about how he thought this dinner was a bad idea and what a deranged asshole I was. I read it and thought, oh, what a lovely way to welcome someone to your house. But when I got there, that guy wasn't living there. Now, does Trump want respect? Of course, who doesn't? My friend said to me, "What are you going to wear to the White House?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm not going to dress like Zelensky, I'll tell you that." But, okay. Just for starters, he laughs. I'd never seen him laugh in public, but he does, including at himself. And it's not fake. Believe me, as a comedian of 40 years, I know a fake laugh when I hear it. And I thank you for them. No. But, okay, example, in the Oval Office, he...
Dude, Trump laughs, and he laughs at himself. I like that for years and years, this dumb the only thing that basically positioned him as anything but like the average Republican, because on policies he was completely locked in, right? But the only thing that positioned him away from the average Republican was his disdain for Trump and like how stupid he thought Republicans were. And now that last tiny hurdle has been cleared for him.
He was showing me the portraits of presidents, and he pointed to Reagan and said, in all seriousness, you know, the best thing about him, his hair. I said, well, there was also that whole bringing down communism thing, waiting for the button next to the Diet Coke button to get pushed and I go through the trap door. But no, he laughed, he got it. I said to him at one point, "Mr. President, you know the dog, that's unusual in the White House." He said, "Well, a lot of the presidents, they had a dog for political reasons." I said, "No, people love dogs, that's what that is." "Oh yeah, okay, that's true." I'm telling you what happened. At one point, we were walking through his amazing, it is an amazing tour of the whole house. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it must have been something with the 2020 election, because I know he used the word lost. And I distinctly remember saying, "Wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that." He didn't get mad. He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian.
Dude, I'm losing my fucking mind. Is this for real? I already knew that he was inevitably going to become this person. But I'm kind of shocked that his audience would be into it. You know what I mean? Like, what differentiates Bill Maher at this point from any Republican? What differentiates him from any Republican? I guess the unprecedented access that he has to Donald Trump now puts him in a higher position on the Republican totem pole than the average one. Like, it's truly shocking how much these previous like resistance liberals who only aesthetically hated Donald Trump have completely dropped even the aesthetics now. I don't give a shit if Trump portrays himself like a madman in public, but he's like much nicer in private. I care about his policies. I care about the things he does, not the things he says or the way he carries himself. As a matter of fact, I like the way he carries himself. It's the only redeeming quality for Trump. I think it's hilarious. I have the exact opposite perspective that people have to Trump, where I think it's hilarious, where he's just like the most insane person openly in broad daylight. He'll just do shit that presidents are not supposed to do. To me, that's the redeeming quality. But he's a zesty man with a penchant for theater.
Taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. Bob, Kid Rock, told me the night before, he said, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you're going to have to cut him off. He'll just go on. Not at all. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected, people who don't look you in the eye, people who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing, people whose response to things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine. There were so many moments when I hit him with a joke or contradicted something, and no problem. At dinner, He was asking me about the nuclear situation in Iran in a very genuine, hey, I think you're a smart guy, I want your opinion sort of way. And I said,
Bro, oh, it's because Kid Rock was there. At first, I was about to say,
Why would you ask Bill Maher about Iran? What the f does he know about the nuclear situation in Iran? And then I realized Kid Rock is there. And as you guys know, Kid Rock is his czar. Like, he's basically the Iran czar. If you recall from his last administration, he got in trouble for showing Kid Rock the Iran invasion plans.
well, obviously you're privy to things about it, I'm not, but for what it's worth, I thought the Obama deal was worth letting play out because we made Iran destroy 98% of the uranium, and they were 15 years away from a bomb. And then I said to him, but we got rid of that. You got rid of that. He didn't get mad or call me a left-wing lunatic. He took it in. I told him I thought parts of his plan for Gaza were wacky, but that I had supported him in
Parts of his plans for Gaza. His plans for Gaza is full-blown ethnic cleansing. And Bill Maher was like, parts of the ethnic cleansing campaign yeah, I hung out with Adolf Hitler, and I told him parts of his final solution in the Holocaust were a little goofy, a little wacky. Like, there are much more efficient ways of killing everybody. Come on, Hitler.
the idea that Gaza could be Dubai instead of hell. I told him he was wrong when he tweeted the night before that I was critical of all things Trump. Not true. Check the tapes. Moving Israel's embassy to Jerusalem, loved it. The border did need to be controlled.
Why? You didn't even find, like, why? You're literally anti-religion your whole career. You didn't even know you were Jewish until later in your life. I never knew he was Jewish. And it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, he literally was Mr. I hate all religions. And what, moving the fucking embassy? Yeah. No, Bill Maher grew up Catholic. Also, I didn't even, dude, he has such, straightforwardly, he has such like a drunk Catholic asshole vibes. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, I didn't know. I didn't know he was Jewish until like literally last year, or as like Jewish heritage. So there's straightforwardly in his entire life, there's no association with even a little bit of Zionist propaganda. You know what I mean? What do you mean you love when you moved the embassy to Jerusalem?
I'm glad the cops are getting their morale back. DEI had gone too far. Biological men shouldn't be playing women's sports. Europe should pay for their defense. And of course, it makes sense that Arab countries should take in Arab refugees, like the million Syrians who wound up in Germany when Saudi Arabia took none. He said to me, "You're right, they took none." I said, well,
it's crazy that regardless of Bashar al-Assad being a tyrant, we played a role in this. I do like this, though. I will say, I appreciate that he's like open. So maybe dumb liberals will no longer try to maintain the vibes of like Bill Maher is like some kind of liberal still.
well, you should remind your boyfriend in Saudi Arabia that the next time you see him. He laughed. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around him. And honestly, I voted for Clinton and Obama, but I would never feel comfortable talking to them the way I was able to talk with Donald Trump. That's just how it went down. Make of it what you will. Me, I feel it's emblematic of why the Democrats are so unpopular these days. He was even okay when I checked.
Yeah, dude. Rich fucking 100-millionaire asshole felt more comfortable talking to Donald Trump than Clinton. That means nothing.
Him on the orangutan lawsuit. He was. I know. He said to Dana White, you know, Bill said my father was an orangutan, and I really love my father. And I said, well, Mr. President, I did that because I didn't like what you were doing regarding Obama's birth origins. I thought that was low. Again, no anger, just a little smile as if to say, yeah, I get it. The most surreal part of the whole night was when I got home. I flew back right after the dinner, and I'm in bed watching 60 Minutes from the night before.
If Trump arrested Bill Maher after that meeting, his approval rating would have gone up. Big mistake. He's lost the juice. I feel like a younger Trump, a more dynamic, more vibrant Trump, wouldn't have missed out on that opportunity. You know what I mean? Yeah, send his ass to CCOT, dude. Fuck him.
And there's Trump in one of their stories, standing at a podium in a room that looked to me like one of the rooms and places we'd just been in. And he's ranting, disgusting, you're a terrible person. And I'm like, who's that guy? What happened to Glinda the Good Witch? And why can't we get the guy I met to be the public guy? And I'm not saying it's our responsibility to do that. It's not. I'm just reporting exactly what I saw over 2.5 hours. I went into the mine, and that's what's down there. A crazy person doesn't live in the White House. A person who plays a crazy person on TV a lot lives there, which I know is fucked up. It's just not as fucked up as I thought it was. And I have no illusions now that...
This only matters if you're a very specific Bill Maher style liberal, where the only thing you didn't like about Trump was the optics. Like, most people hate what he's doing, you fucking moron. Not how he carries himself is not presidential. I hate this fucking piece of shit.
That I'm back to work at my job, that he might start a new list. Because I don't have
nothing. When you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. And Bill Maher's a perfect demonstration of this. He got duped by Donald Trump, dude. That's how fucking stupid you are. And all it took was for him to be kind of nice to you. I don't give a fuck that Donald Trump is sane behind all of the insanity. I don't think Trump is a brilliant 5D chess player that portrays himself. Even Boris Johnson used to do this. Boris Johnson famously would present himself as like a goof, a dumbass. But he did that deliberately. He did that for a purpose. So he could just get away with his dangerous agenda while, you know, making a fool of himself. Donald Trump is not doing that. He is definitely also a dumbass, just like Bush was. Also a real dumbass. But none of this matters. You want to know why? Because when you match Donald Trump's actions, when you look at what he's done, whether he did it deliberately, intentionally, or because he's a fucking moron, doesn't change the impact. As a matter of fact, it's probably worse if he is not oblivious. That means he is, again, a asshole, a monstrous piece of shit. That's why I said the only people that respond to this in a positive manner are people who don't have an issue with Trump at all, or at least on the policy front don't have an issue with it, but just only care about the optics. And if you're Bill Maher, you're probably surrounded by the only people in America who have this perspective. Other rich California liberals who want to melt the working poor themselves and want tax cuts. And the only thing they can't stand is how annoying Trump is.
Good feeling, and we'll be critical about a lot of what he's doing, the trade war and disappearing people, ruling by decree, threatening judges, gutting the government with glee. But I also think he now understands I have a job to do, or at least he did on this night, because he said to me early on that he'd seen our last episode, which was the Friday before this dinner. And he said, I thought maybe you'd be nice, but you hit me really hard. I did, because I'm not going to pull my punches that presidents get to propose a third term for themselves. He understood that, and without animus. That doesn't mean he's not going to try to do it.
No, you fucking idiot. He knows you're not a real threat. He knows you're easily duped. You're the easily duped guy who he can just like be nice to. You know what's funny? First of all, the fucking ego on this guy. Like, who are you, dude? Who the fuck watches this show? That's number one. Number two, the ego on this guy is actually quite similar to Donald Trump. It's the same way that world leaders can easily dupe and trick Donald Trump by being nice to him. They will just straight up be like, yes, Mr. President, you're the best. And then that's all it takes. You're so dumb that you got finessed by a dude who's also dumb in the same exact way.
At one point, I said to him, "You're scaring people. Do you really want to be scaring your own citizens so much?" And I know now you're all saying, "And what did he say to that?" Honestly, I don't remember. But it wasn't, "Okay, I'll stop." So MAGA fans, don't worry. Your boy gave me nothing. Just hats. Hats and a very generous amount of time and a willingness to listen and accept me as a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA, which was the point of the dinner. My favorite part of the whole night was we were standing in the blowjob room. We were.
This time is not the only time you've given him a suck job, it seems. I guess he did it before in the Oval, and he's doing it again in public now.
And he said, "You know, I've heard from a lot of people who really like that we're having this dinner. Not all, but a lot." And I said, "Same. A lot of people told me they loved it, but not all." And we agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk, we don't like you. Don't talk, as opposed to what? Writing the same editorial for the millionth time and making 25-hour speeches into the wind? Really, that's what liberals have? He takes the piss out of everybody else?
Bill Maher's always been a smarmy douchebag, but it's really funny that no matter what he says or does, it's always in the same smarmy douchebag tone, where now he's basically describing how he clout chased the current president, and you're in the wrong for being like, "Hey, didn't you hate this guy, or at least claim to hate this guy for the longest time?" And it's not like the guy you claim to hate has become a new person. Like, he's worse. He's worse than the last time you hated him. But now you like him, like you're like, "Oh, we gotta have another conversation. We could be friends." You think he might be doing to save his own ass? No, man. I don't care about the fucking saving your own ass shit. There is no saving your own ass. There's only, I want to be one of the people that fucks everyone over. This isn't about ass saving. This is about killing others, okay? At this stage, if you are doing stuff like this, especially from a position of prominence, from a position of influence, you're not doing it because you want to save your ass. If you want to save your ass, you shut the fuck up. And I think there's a degree of selfishness there too, which is why I don't ever shut the fuck up. But beyond that, this is not saving your ass. This is, I want to be the one that does the pain. He's like, "I will play my role as a collaborator, sir." That's what he's doing.
And we can hold ours. Okay, that's my report. You can hate me for it, but I'm not a liar. Trump was gracious and measured, and why he isn't that in other settings, I don't know, and I can't answer, and it's not my place to answer. I'm just telling you what I saw, and I wasn't high. Damn, missed opportunity.
Fuck this piece of shit.